You don't realize how much you still inhabit his being, how your presence continues to throb, even when he tries to convince himself that it's all in the past. There's a silent insistence in his heart, an echo that doesn't fade, no matter how hard time tries to erase it. He carries images of you in the details, in the simple gestures, in the breath of the early mornings when the silence becomes too heavy. And even though he tries to run away, the memory remains a sweet and painful shadow. You might think he has already forgotten you, but he hasn't. What exists is a mask he wears to survive, a facade of moving forward, yet deep down, he still feels your presence as if it were yesterday. The deeper awareness is that what seemed closed off was never truly finished, because there are stories that cannot be erased. They only change form and continue to dwell in the invisible spaces of the soul. He finds himself remembering you in moments when he shouldn't, when someone's laughter ignites the same flame you once lit, when the scent of the wind carries an old memory, when the music plays and the melody cuts through like a gentle blade. All of this shows that the bond hasn't died. It has merely transformed into something uncontrollable, because deep down, it's not about choice, it's about presence, and you're still there, in his soul, in what is impossible to tear away. How many times has he tried to pull it away? How many times did he believe that simply denying it would be enough? But denial doesn't erase. Denial only strengthens the flame that insists on burning. There's something in you that marked his heart permanently, something that transcends words, explanations, or logic. It's as if your essence has mingled with his, and even in silence he still feels the pulse. Have you noticed this? That there's someone who can't move on because you are still at the center of his soul? If this resonates with you now, comment, "I needed to hear this." The truth is that you feel it too. Maybe not at the same pace, maybe not with the same intensity, but there is an invisible thread that continues to connect you, and that thread hasn't broken. And do you know why? Because certain connections are not accidents. They are disguised destinies. They are encounters that transcend time and defy any attempt at forgetting. He can smile, he can pretend, he can lose himself in other stories, but deep down, you are still the most vivid scar. And scars don't hurt because they still bleed. They hurt because they remind us. This memory is what drives us, what disturbs us, what keeps the flame of absence alive. And that's where the realization comes. You never stopped being there. Even without wanting to, even without planning, you continue to live in his soul. He remains trapped in something he cannot name, and every day he tries to find answers that never come, because it's not about reason. It's not about conscious choice. It's something that lives in the soul, in the deepest roots of being. Do you believe that he has forgotten? That time did the job of erasing? That's a mistake. Time only taught him to disguise it better, to put on the armor of daily life, to take steps that seem firm but inside still tremble. There are nights when he sits in silence, staring at nothing. But that nothing has your face, that nothing has your voice, that nothing has your mark. And even without admitting it, it's there that he feels whole. Because without you, nothing else seems complete. You can't imagine how many times he tried to rebuild his heart, with new faces, with new promises, with new escapes. But everything dissolves in the face of the memory that insists on reappearing. He realized over time that it's no use running away, because what lives in the soul cannot be quickly ripped away. It cannot be replaced, and deep down, it doesn't want to be forgotten. His heart doesn't wish to erase you. It only wants to understand why this bond remains alive. The truth is that there are connections that don't follow human rules. They aren't measured in time. They don't break with distance. They don't dissolve in silence. They remain as if they were tattoos etched in the essence. You are still tattooed on his soul, and that's what scares him the most. Because he knows he can change cities, change routines, even change dreams. But when he closes his eyes, you are still the first memory that awakens. And it's not because he chooses it. It's because you have become part of him. Have you stopped to realize that this isn't just longing? It's something bigger, something that doesn't fit into simple explanations. It's as if life has intertwined two paths so deeply that even when apart, they continue to echo in each other. He feels that echo in his body, in his heart that races for no reason, in the skin that tingles at invisible memories, in his chest that tightens when the memory resurfaces uninvited. And you? Do you also notice signs, or do you believe it's just imagination? What seems like imagination is often pure perception. It's the soul recalling what the mind tries to hide. You are in him like a fragrance that doesn't fade, like a sound that cannot be silenced, like a breeze that insists on crossing every space, and he can no longer deny it. Because denying it only amplifies its presence, he tries to live as if nothing is happening. But with every smile that isn't yours, his heart remembers. With every hug that isn't yours, the emptiness grows. With every promise that isn't yours, the silence weighs heavier. And what hurts the most is realizing that you might not know. Or maybe you do know but prefer to remain silent. But one way or another, he remains a prisoner of what you both experienced. There are nights when he dreams of you, and he wakes up startled because it felt too real. The touch, the gaze, the breath, everything so vivid that it hurts to open his eyes and not find you. These dreams aren't a coincidence. They are memories that his soul insists on reliving. They are signs that even when apart, something remains intact. He might smile at the world, but the world doesn't see what's happening inside him. The world doesn't notice the weight he carries. The world doesn't understand why certain names can never be forgotten. You are in the name he doesn't say, in the song he avoids listening to, in the place he no longer visits, but no matter how much he tries to avoid it, everything comes back. Because running away is not the solution, and he knows that. How many times have you felt that connection too? How many times have you realized that even when trying to move on, something pulled you back? Maybe it's not just memory. Maybe it's fate. And fate doesn't ask for permission, it just happens. You are the fate that has never dissolved within him. You are the chapter that never ends, the scar that never heals, the secret that remains unconfessed. And do you know what the deepest truth is? He doesn't want to let go. No matter how much he says he does, no matter how much he tries, he doesn't want to, because losing you completely would also mean losing the most vibrant part of himself. Have you ever lived something similar? Have you felt that someone still lives within you, even when everything seemed over? If so, write in the comments, yes, his heart still calls your name in silence. It still waits for a response that never came. It still believes that at some point you will realize how much you still live within him. And this is not weakness. This is intensity. It's proof that certain souls were made to never forget. Even when life insists on separating them, he tries to convince himself that it's over, repeats ready-made phrases, pretends that time has healed, but with each longer silence, he realizes that you still pulse within him. And that's when the truth is revealed. Because no one can pretend forever. The body doesn't lie. The soul doesn't lie. The heart always reveals what the mouth tries to hide. He carries you in such subtle details that it even startles him. In the way he holds an object, in the memory of a phrase you used to say, in the way someone's laughter for a few seconds transports you back to the past. You are embedded in him, not as a fleeting memory, but like a tattoo that time cannot erase, like a scar that does not dissolve. And do you know what is more intense? He didn't choose this. You simply stayed. You lodged yourself in spaces he didn't even know existed within him. And since then, everything has changed. He might try to find new paths. He might even lay in other arms. But deep down, there's always something missing. There's always a glaring emptiness. There's always a silence that calls for you. This emptiness is not ordinary. It's a sign, a warning that certain connections were not meant to end. They were meant to transcend time, distance, and even silence. Have you noticed that even when apart, there's still an energy that links you, as if there's an invisible thread pulling, keeping, sustaining? This thread does not break. It extends, it stretches, but remains strong. He feels this thread at unexpected moments, when his heart races for no apparent reason, when his name is called and your name surfaces in his mind, when memories flood in like waves without warning. And even while trying to run away, he always returns to the same place, to you, to the certainty that something still lives, to the realization that you never left. How many times has he found himself writing and deleting messages he never sent? How many times has he resisted the urge to seek you out, as if something inside him still believed that silence was the only form of protection? But protection from what? From whom? When, deep down, all he wants is your presence. He lives this conflict of wanting and denying, of feeling and silencing, of screaming inside and smiling on the outside. Have you ever imagined the weight of carrying someone in secret, living a silent love that never fades, coexisting with a memory so strong that it becomes almost a second skin? This is the weight he bears, And even without saying it, it is in him that you remain alive. The most curious thing is that he is no longer bothered by feeling. Before he fought against it, now he accepts it as part of himself, because he realized that to deny you is to deny himself. He understood that certain presences are not visitors, they are homes. And you were not a visitor. You became a home. You remain the silent home within him. The space where he feels whole even in absence. And that is the truth he never had the courage to admit. There are days when he feels strong, as if he finally overcame it, but just one detail, a tiny memory, and everything comes rushing back. And he understands that no, it's not over, it never was, the soul doesn't pretend, and his soul keeps calling out for yours. You may not realize how much this shapes him, how much it influences his choices, how much it dictates his silences, but it's there. It always has been. It always will be. Has this ever happened to you? Someone moves on, but you feel like you still live in them? If so, comment, "I've lived this." He keeps you in the most hidden part of his heart. He doesn't talk. He doesn't show, but he feels. And that feeling is stronger than any word. What's most impressive is that this bond doesn't depend on physical proximity. Even from a distance, he remains whole. Even in silence, he stays alive. Even in absence, he remains present. You have become an inseparable part of his journey, and despite life's insistence on creating new chapters, the book never closes. Because you are the chapter that never ends. You are the line that keeps being written, even without a pen, even without paper. And deep down, he knows. If you were to return now, everything would make sense. His heart would revive. His body would breathe a sigh of relief. His soul would finally feel at home, but until then he continues to live between two worlds. The world that shows, and the world that feels. The world of facade, and the world of soul. And in this secret world, you remain the center. You continue to be what no other presence has managed to replace. You remain the most beautiful and painful wound he has ever known. And perhaps that is precisely what makes this story eternal. The fact that even without your physical presence, you live on within him. The fact that even without words, the silence still speaks of you. The fact that even without a guaranteed future, the heart still holds on to hope. He can't move on because you are still his truth. And deep down, maybe you always will be. He's no longer sure if it's a memory or a presence. Because you are not just a thing of the past. You are something that continues to happen inside him every single day. He notices this in the details that no one else sees, in the way certain words stir a strange warmth in his chest, in the way certain places still seem to speak of you, in the silences that carry your name even when it is not spoken. He's learned to disguise it well, shows strength, follows routines, smiles at the world, but when he's alone, the mask slips, and it's in that moment that you appear with intense clarity. You don't leave his soul because you were never just a passing figure. You were a root, you were a seed, you were a storm and calm, and roots aren't easily uprooted, they remain. They sustain. Even when unseen, they hold firm in the underground of existence. It's this root he still feels today, an underground bond that cannot be destroyed, an invisible link that continues to nourish something within him. He might even try to convince himself that it's just nostalgia, but it's not. It's deeper, it's more real. It's a thread that remains active, as if it has never been cut. And you feel it too, even if you don't want to admit it, even if you'd rather stay silent. There are moments when the memory surfaces uninvited, when the heart races for no reason, when perception screams that something remains unresolved. That unresolved feeling is what keeps everything alive. It's what keeps you within him. It's what prevents his heart from resting. He walks around as if he's whole, but he's not, because the most alive part of him is still you, and as long as you're in his soul, nothing can fill that space. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe this isn't a mistake, that perhaps it's not a weakness but rather a call? A reminder that certain souls weren't meant to be lost. He keeps waiting, even if he won't admit it, even if he doesn't confess, even if he hides it from himself. He's still waiting for you. You are the most present absence in his life, and no one can deny that. Have you felt this too? That the absence of someone can be stronger than the presence of everyone else? If so, write, "I felt it," because that's exactly what he's living. A constant paradox, a silent love that never left, a secret bond that remains, even when everything seems to say otherwise. And that's why, no matter how hard they try to move on, he still carries you, because you've never stopped being a part of him and deep down you never will. This was just the first step. In the next video, I'll show you what no one has the courage to reveal. Click here and continue with me. The truth is going to turn you inside out.